What's up everyone and welcome back or welcome. If this is your first visit, my name is Matt. Thanks for tuning in. On this channel I review brand new cars and this is 2026 Toyota Sienna Limited hybrid front wheel drive. I am at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, Florida, and together we're going to explore this vehicle from the exterior, interior, technology, and I will take you on a test drive at the end of this video. So if that's something you enjoy watching, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more automotive content. Give me a thumbs up. Now let's get back to this. The Sienna has been around since 1997. It replaced the previous minivan from Toyota, which was Toyota Previa, and it's been one of the best-selling minivans on the market. Now, there are only 5 left. After the big boom in the 90s and the early 2000s, where every manufacturer had one, we have Toyota Sienna, Honda Odyssey, Kia Carnival, Chrysler Pacifica, and the electric Volkswagen Bus. That's it. Now, as far as the minivans, if you haven't taken a road trip with one, you're missing out because they're really the ultimate road trip vehicles. Let's take a look and see what this Sienna has to offer. This car and design has been around since 2021, so it's 5 years old already. Still looking really good. Let's see what we have. First of all, if you like the color of it, they call it cypress green. And we have the LED lights, daytime running lamps, and also LED turn signals. We have this gray trim above the headlamps and a darker gray bottom portion of the grille. At the bottom corners, you also find a set of fog lamps on this limited trim, and we have the large Toyota logo right there in the middle. Let's pop the hood open. Let's see what powers it up. And since 2021, we also have the same engine, which is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine producing 189 horsepower, 179 pound-feet of torque. Now, when it's coupled with either 2 or 3 electric motors, depending on whether it's a front-wheel drive, then it gets 2. If it's an all-wheel drive, it gets 3 electric motors. The net horsepower output goes to 245. It is mated to a CVT direct drive transmission. The gas mileage is 36 in the city and 36 on the expressway. And then we have 0 to 60 in just about 7.5 seconds. That all looks really good. Now we have that ugly prop stick on one side. We have some sound insulation, and we're definitely going to check out the driving dynamics and the quietness of the cabin at the end of this video. But if you're wondering if it's going to fit in your garage, let's talk about the dimensions. So the total length is 203.7, width 78.5. We have the height of 69.7 and a large wheelbase of 120.5 inches. And even though this design is 5 years old, it's very unique. Some people like it, some people hate it. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. I actually like it. Now, it sits on 18-inch rim with this limited trim, and we have this shiny polished aluminum wheels with some different fronts on the rims, if you can see that. Now, 235 by 60 is the size of the tire, and we have the Bridgestone Turanza tires on this particular model. As you can see at the very bottom of it, we have this shiny black trim. Now the mirrors are fully loaded. We have the turn signals here, we have the blind spot assist. They're also power folding mirrors. Now on top of the windows, we have this chrome trim piece, as well as you can see the roof rails are standard of it. Now the crossbars are not, so make it functional. And then we have the chrome accents on the door handles. Still a keyhole. Most of the vehicles got rid of that. And then we have the proximity entry system. Now the gas tank door is on the driver's side. Now let's take a look, see what's going on in the back. And here in the back kind of reminds me of the Highlander, the regular Highlander, not the Grand Highlander. But we have the LED light setup, mostly at least. We have the LED tail lamps, but still the incandescent turn signals. Here are your reverse lights. And then Sienna is spelled out right there in the middle, Toyota logo, a limited right in the corner, HEV on the other side. The bottom of the bumper is finished with this shiny black color. Now we have not one, but two cameras, one for the digital mirror and one for the regular rear view camera, exposed wiper, and then you also have the washing system. The third brake light is hidden right inside of this vehicle. Now, of course, we have the power liftgate on this limited trim model. So let's see what we have as far as storage. And behind this third row seat, we have a total of about 35 cubic feet of storage and this really deep well that you can store stuff. And I call it the in-law suite, although don't tell my mother-in-law that I said that, but there's plenty of room underneath here. There is no spare tire, however, but there's a fix for it. Now, on the right-hand side here, you see the auxiliary battery in this compartment. And then we also have the 120-volt outlet for a total of 1500 watts. So that's a regular household outlet. Now we can fold down the seats, but before we get there, and here's their fix for the fix-a-flat. Essentially, that's your kit to deal with that. So you don't have a spare tire, which would be nice, especially if you are taking your family on the road trip. Now, as far as the seats, the way to fold them down, they're actually numbered, and it's really easy. You fold this, push it down, and here you go. We can do that same thing, but the other seat, which is bigger, so it's going to be a little bit heavier, but that produces almost flat floor, giving you about 75 cubic feet of storage. Now, as far as what the passengers have in the third row seat, two USB Type-C ports on the right-hand side only, and the tiny little cup holders. Now, I'm going to try to get in the third row seat to see if I would be comfortable. So let's see what else is going on in the interior. Now let's see what's going on right here in the third row seat. So once you move the seat forward, you know, it's easy to get in. You can get in, of course, two different ways, right through this pass-through, as you can see where that camera is pointing, or also in between the seats because they're kept in chairs. Now, I have fair enough of headroom, probably about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Comfortable reclined position as I'm sitting in right now. I have cup holders, although they're very tiny, as I mentioned before. There's also a sunscreen manual one sunshade that you can open, and that's a pretty cool feature because that sign, it always kind of finds the way in there. Your vent illumination. Now, if you look at my sitting position, my knees are up quite a bit. And, you know, that reclining doesn't always work, especially, you know, if I have this middle seat moved back. So let's see what else I can do here. I can leave it just like this. However, it's not the easiest process. There is a strap that comes out from the front of the seat, so you kind of have to move out of the way and reach back to recline it to the position that you want. Plus, if I wanted to move this seat all the way back, let's see what happens here. I pull on this strap that sometimes unlocks the whole thing and sometimes doesn't for some reason, and the seat moves back. Now I have very limited space, so let's see, maybe like this. Yeah, I can still fit in there. That definitely would not be a minivan to take your adult kids and put them in the third row seat. They might hate you forever. But if you have smaller children or you use it only on occasion, that's definitely good. But wait till you see what's going on right here in the middle seat. And let me explain. Now, these seats are very nice once you adjust them to the position that you need to sit in. But I think they're very cumbersome as far as the way they're being adjusted. So first of all, there are several different levers. This one controls front and back. This one controls your recline. Okay, and you can move this seat nicely out of the way, giving you the maximum space to get into this third row seat. I wish there was one button somewhere here that would do all of that instead of you having to fold it and move it out of the way. Now, if we move this seat back, and see, I can't even do it one-handed. I have to use my elbow to move this seat all the way back. The good part is that it goes all the way back. So look how much room you have. And therefore, Toyota is giving you And again, I need to make sure that it's nicely reclined, but it's giving you this lounge sitting position. And after you spend about 20 minutes of adjusting it, you get to take a well deserved rest because it's not easy to put it in the position where I'm in right now. This can be folded in. You have to use one lever kind of to move it back to the side, another one to move the seat front and back. There is a recline position that only goes about this far. Now, if they did all of this, that should be a recline position that allows you to like literally fold down the seat and lay down. That's at least my opinion. But nevertheless, this is a pretty cool feature if you want to relax in your minivan. So while I appreciate the idea, the execution is a little bit cumbersome. I like the interior. I like this beige and black color combination. Now this one has the all-season mats that don't come standard. What else we have? We have additional storage in the seat back pockets. And let's jump inside of here. Right in this middle console, we have the charging port and the regular household outlet. You can opt in for like a cooler box that can be mounted there as well, but this one doesn't have it. Up on top, you have your climate control. So it has a dual zone climate control in the back, dual zone in the front. You also have some illumination here, and your vents are right on the sides here. So that should make the cabin nice and comfortable. Let's see what else is going on this interior. So we'll get to the door panels. You can close the door by pushing the button, of course, and here it is. We have the manual sunshade right here as well, window and lock controls, a little bit more storage as far as the cup holders on the sides. The main ones, of course, are in this middle console. And I also see some vents that are underneath the front seats. So in addition to the ones on top, you have ones at the bottom too. Let's see what's going on in the driver's quarters. So as always, let's listen to the sound of the closing door. That is actually very good. And on the inside front door panel, we have two memory seat settings: window, mirror, lock controls, the ability to fold in your mirrors or fold them out if you are in the tight spots. Now what's here? This is some softer touch material. We also have the soft touch material for your armrest, a speaker, and more storage at the very bottom. Now you have a bunch of controls as far as the power adjustment on and the seats. So we have, this is 8-way, I believe, power adjustments, including the 4-way lumbar support on this seat, driver's seat. Now the passenger seat is also power, but it's limited to the 4-way adjustment. On the left hand side of the steering wheel, we have a bunch of buttons. So the ability to turn off the traction control, your automatic lights, you can turn on or on that AC, power outlet in the back, dimmer, reset the odometer trim. You have this button, which sometimes people will push that, just when they are opening the gas tank door, and that basically disables your power door. So now I have to open them manually. And some people might prefer that, but this won't work. I have to enable that again. Now you have a little bit more of a storage in form of a shelf and the power adjustment for tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Let me jump inside. I'll show the rest of this interior. And we're going to start this interior tour with the sound of the closing door. That's very nice and solid. And here's another thing to point out. Look at this front side window. I mean, this is the unobstruction in here. So they even utilized all of this area so to minimize blind spots. So that's very nice. We also have this nice large windshield, of course, giving you a good view of the road ahead. A couple large screens. We'll get to that. We have the JBL stereo with the premium stereo with the 12 speakers here and a bunch of vents to make the cabin nice and comfortable. Now this is nice and soft. We also have this two-tone as far as the coloring of this interior, plus this plastic and the polished aluminum color. We have the shelf right above the glove box, and this is nice and soft as well, and a wireless charging pad here. But if that wasn't enough, you also have the USB, but the old one, the type A, not the type C. Now let's move on and let's see what's going on in terms of the steering wheel. I like the steering wheel. We have the golf ball texture, we have some stitching on the inside. It is good to the touch. Kind of wish maybe it was a little bit thicker right here, but if you like thick bottoms, it has one here. So definitely this one, kind of like a truck steering wheel. A shiny Toyota logo right there in the middle, bunch of buttons that control what's going on in this instrument cluster, which we're going to get to in just a minute. We have the voice control phone and a back button on the other side. We have mode as far as your audio, seek, track, and this is your cruise control command center. We also have the lane keep assist and the adjustment of the gap between you and the car in front of you. So what's going on in this fully digital instrument cluster? Now we've seen that in many different Toyotas, right? They use it. So let's see what can be changed here. So first on the left-hand side, you have the charge, eco, and power, typical to the hybrid. On the right-hand side, you have the regular speedometer. Up on top, you see the temperature, the time, the speed, and, a lot of it can be customized. So let's see, you have 3 different changes that you can make. Hold OK to make changes. So once I hold OK and go to settings, you can see what's displayed right there in the middle. Okay. And on the right hand side, you can change different messages, different display modes of what's inside of this gauge, and we can also do that on the left hand side, and they're different. So depending on what you like to see while driving, whether it's the gas mileage, whether it's the eco zones where you try to drive more eco-friendly, that you can do that too. EV driving ratio, audio off, etc. So you can customize all that. So nice and customizable screen. And as I mentioned before, we have 3 of those. And then you can go to settings, and here is a whole bunch of settings as far as the safety. So you have assist, you have the blind spot monitoring, pre-collision sensing, your parking sensor, rear cross traffic alert, you have the vehicle settings, meter settings. By the way, vehicle settings, if you go here, and sometimes if your vehicle gate does not open, this is really where you adjust that. You go to and the power gate settings, and you can turn either this on or off. Now usually in the transport mode, once the car gets to the dealership, it's off. So just in case they don't turn it on, this is how you adjust it. You can also do the hands-free, where you wave your foot underneath it, and opening adjustment, and you can also adjust the volume here. So let's get out of here, and this is your instrument cluster. Let's move on to the infotainment system, which is the 12.3-inch display. Nice big display. You have still the regular power and volume knob and push to turn it off, of course. So you can do that. And we're gonna move it down. We're gonna turn this volume down, and you can see as far as your radio, you have the AM, FM, and Sirius XM. Now, as far as your navigation, it is Toyota, so it gives you the ability to subscribe to the navigation system, but it does not come standard with the vehicle. You can, however, use Android Auto app or CarPlay, so we can go to this vehicle settings, climate trip information, vehicle alert, and then you have the Bluetooth and devices, and that's where you can find all of the important information about your vehicle and adjustments as well. Now there's no currently a device that's connected to it, but you know what, let's do this. Let's see how easy it is to connect that device. I'm gonna actually search for it as well on my Bluetooth phone. I have Android, so if you have Apple, I'm sorry to hear that, but in all seriousness, I just enabled the Bluetooth scan on this device. As you can see, this phone has been connected to pretty much everything. And you'll find Toyota Sienna. All you do is hit that little button. It's going to ask you for the pairing code. Make sure it's the same as you can see on your phone. And yeah, you can hit this, confirm the code, and now it's pairing. Start Android Auto. Okay. Now the vehicle is connected and you can use your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So Android Auto is starting right now. And here it is, guys. This is what it shows. Of course, you can go to your main screen settings, and then you'll find a Toyota logo, and that's where you click this to go back to your Toyota settings here. So now when you start the navigation, it's going to take you to the Android Auto options. Okay, so we've seen this before. I want to check out and see the rear view camera. It is a family vehicle, so it should have a pretty good one. Yep, and it's not bad. I mean, it has a good quality camera. Kind of wish that we had this 360. Now there are two trims above the Limited, so probably on that Platinum you'll get the 360 camera, but you are not getting it on the Limited. We have the three different angles, or two different angles for camera. We have the active trajectory lines, and it takes up a decent portion of this screen. So let's put it back in park. And then let's scroll down. Let's see what else is going on. So we have a total of quad zones, 4 zones. And you can make adjustments as far as the temperature here. You also have a bunch of shortcut buttons. And we have the heated and ventilated seats for the driver and passenger. That's only in the front row on this model. And then we have the rear window defogger or defroster, front window defogger, and the warning about the vehicle data transmission from Toyota. So that's set on, and it sends the information about the location of the vehicle. So you need to call Toyota if you want to opt in for that, and have them stop tracking you. So here's your regular shifter. Now, a lot of minivans switched over to this push button style. And you know what? As much as I like the shifter, I think on the minivan, the push button style would fit better on this. We have the different drive modes, and there are actually 3 of them. So there's Sport, Normal, and Eco. I'm going to leave it in the normal mode. It is not a performance minivan by any means. With the EV mode, parking brake, brake hold, and the cup holders, in addition to, so we have 2 cup holders here, 2 cup holders there. So, I mean, I guess people in front can have multiple drinks, and a very deep storage compartment, 2 USB Type-C ports. That's the faux wood trim. And then up on top, we have the digital mirror you can turn on. Very nice feature, very needed one, especially in a large vehicle as this. I'll actually leave that on. Here we have the ability to control your rear gate as well as both of your doors. So you can open and close them from here, as long as, of course, that automatic power sliding doors are enabled. And then we have the ability to control your moonroof. So that slides it open. One-touch operation back. That allows you to close it. And we have the manual sunshade here as well. Door light. So if you leave it in the middle, basically the lights will go on every time that you'll get the doors open. And these look like the regular lights, although they might be LEDs just in the yellow shape. What else is here? This tiny little mirror that allows you to see what's going on here in the back. Kind of wish that they had this rear camera like they have on the Odyssey, where you can see what people are doing in the back. Now, what else we have? Illuminated mirrors, and it is a slide visor. So, yep, you can slide this open to prevent you from being blinded by the sun. And this is it. This is the interior of this 2026 Toyota Sienna Limited. Let's talk pricing, take it for a spin. As far as pricing, Toyota starts their Sienna with the LE model, and that's $40,420. The XLE is the next one, $45,120. XSC, $48,345. Limited, $51,105. Woodland Edition, $51,200. And then we have the Platinum at $57,810. So the Platinum being the top of the line model, I'm going to come back and see what else this vehicle has in addition to what we've seen with the Limited build, and see if it's worth upgrading for an additional essentially $6,000 difference between this and the top of the line. And I think it's going to have a lot more features, guys. So this is the pricing, anywhere from $42,000 to $57,000. So you can find something for yourself. Now, all of them are going to have the same engine configuration. So the 2.5 liter with 2 electric, or 3 if you opt in for all-wheel drive, 3 electric motors, 245 horsepower. That doesn't change whether you get the front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Now the rear-wheel drive, it's not a mechanical all-wheel drive. Essentially, there is an additional electric motor that sits on the rear axle that drives the rear axles, which is very nice feature to have, especially if you live in a climate where you get some snow and ice, and it's always good, even here in Florida, to have that all-wheel drive capacity. Now the gas mileage is 36 on this one, and it only drops about a mile on the all-wheel drive, so that's not a huge difference. I think yeah, the woodland trim, for example, like if you like something a little bit more outdoorsy style, that comes standard with the all-wheel drive. It's the same price essentially as the limited trim, and also the platinum also comes standard with the all-wheel drive. And we're going to start this driving portion of this video with making a full circle right here at the end of this road. So let's see, steering wheel all the way to the left. This is very nice and tight. Yeah, I made it without going off the road, so not bad at all. A really nice and good turning radius on in this minivan. And as far as driving it, let's take it on a quick test drive. We're gonna check out the acceleration, the quietness of the cabin, and the overall feel of this 2026 Sienna. So why were minivans all that popular when they first came out in the 90s? Well, they replaced the station wagons. So if you remember the old station wagons, they were large. They were usually had this large, huge displacement engine. They weren't really very gasoline friendly, and they were kind of limited on roominess. Now, most of them also had the third row seat. They were facing backwards, so not very safe either. So when Chrysler really introduced its first minivan, it became a huge success with the Chrysler Voyager and the Dodge Caravan and all that stuff. You've seen tons of them on the road. Then, of course, we had the Previa from Toyota, which wasn't super popular at that time. We also had the Toyota Honda Odyssey, the first one that I think 95, 96, with the regular opening door in the back. There were no sliding doors on the Honda Odyssey before, the 98, I believe, generation came through. So yeah, I mean, there were a lot of different vehicles on the road also, and every manufacturer had the minivan. So, people were buying them. They were super popular. I was there when the new Odyssey was introduced, new at that time. That was 98, I believe, and that was a huge success. We couldn't keep them in stock. People were lining up to get them, and there were really no discounts on them at that time. Now, they were since replaced by the SUVs. That's really essentially what the minivans were replaced with right now. So now we have the 3-row SUVs, very popular. And I think the majority of people like the idea of sitting up higher. You feel a little bit safer, but it kind of, it's give or take, because the minivans, you have this large sliding doors. You push the button, the door open, the kids get in, you push the button, the door's closed. You sit lower to the ground, so kind of more like a car-like feeling, without being, lifted up so high. But some people like being lifted up high, myself included. I do prefer the SUV to a minivan, but that's just my personal opinion. However, if you do take it on the road trip, yeah, there's nothing like being in the minivan. The ride quality, super nice. We're gonna take it for a quick test drive and check out how this Sienna feels on the road. And in terms of merging and traffic, it can definitely hold its own. We're got it up to about 47, 50 right here. Now, as far as the engine, you can hear that engine kicking in. Like once you get off this electric driving mode, when you first start off, you can hear that transition between the electric to the internal combustion engine. Is it very loud? It is loud, but it's not horrible. It's not bad, and it definitely can move this vehicle. Now I can hear the wind noise and all the doors and the windows are closed all the way. So there is slight wind noise that's coming into the cabin. Very little road noise. You can hear some of that engine noise, of course, especially during acceleration, which we're gonna check out in just a minute. But not bad at all. I mean, this is a smooth riding vehicle. Quick U-turn here, guys. Nobody's behind us. Let's stop. We're at 0. Let's hit it. Definitely makes the engine work to get it up to speed. Once you get it up to speed and let off the accelerator, it quiets down substantially. Of course, you can hear the engine once it's at the higher RPMs. So yeah, I mean, it's nice. I'm not gonna say it's the best, it's the quietest, because it's not. I mean, we have some wind noise that's coming from the top. We definitely have some engine noise while accelerating, but the comfort is there. That's the Toyota comfort that I like. Without being overly cushy, it's nice, supportive as far as the seats, and you can make it your own. You can make several different adjustments to make sure you feel comfortable in here. So what do you think about this new Sienna? Now, it's been around since 2021, so it's not that new, and we'll see what Toyota's gonna do. They usually run 5 or 6 year cycles as far as the model year, so it's coming up for either redesign or maybe they're gonna get rid of it altogether. Who knows? We'll find out. And if they do, will you miss it? Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more automotive content, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.